Have you ever felt like something is stopping you, but you don't know what it is? What if the biggest problem in your life is not outside, but inside you? Today, we will talk about a powerful idea that can change how you see yourself forever. Stay with me, because this message might be exactly what you need right now. The mountain is you is not just a title. It is a deep truth. Many people think their problems come from other people, bad luck, or difficult situations. But in reality, the biggest challenge is often our own thoughts, fears, and habits. When you understand this, you stop blaming the world and start changing yourself. And that is where real power begins. In life, many people feel stuck, confused, or tired, and they often believe that the reason is something outside of them, like their job, their family, or their past. But the truth is much deeper and more surprising. Because most of the time, the real problem is inside their own mind in the way they think, react, and see the world. And this idea can feel uncomfortable at first, because it means we cannot blame others anymore. But at the same time, it is also very powerful. Because if the problem is inside you, then the solution is also inside you, and that means you have control, even if it feels small in the beginning. For example, when you face a challenge, your mind may tell you this is too hard or I cannot do this. And slowly you start believing it, and this belief becomes like a wall that stops you from trying, growing, and improving. But that wall is not real. It is something you created over time through fear, past experiences, and negative thinking. And the more you listen to that voice, the stronger it becomes, until it feels like a mountain in front of you, something too big to climb. But here is the important truth. That mountain is not your life situation. It is your own thoughts and habits. And when you begin to see this clearly, you can start to change it step by step. Not by force, but by awareness, by asking yourself simple but honest questions like, why do I feel this way? Or, is this thought really true? And when you do this, you begin to break the pattern. You begin to take small actions, even when you feel afraid, and those small actions slowly build confidence. And confidence changes how you see challenges. And suddenly, the same problem that once looked impossible now feels manageable. And this is how real growth happens. Not in one big moment, but in many small decisions where you choose to face yourself instead of running away. And this journey is not easy, because it requires honesty and patience. But it is worth it, because when you learn to understand and control your inner world, nothing outside can truly stop you. And that is the moment when you realize that the mountain was never there to destroy you. It was there to teach you who you really are and how strong you can become. Many people think that change happens when they feel ready, motivated, or confident. But in reality, change often begins when you decide to act even when you don't feel ready. Because waiting for the perfect moment is one of the biggest traps that keeps people stuck in the same place for years. And the truth is that your feelings are not always a good guide for your actions, because your mind wants comfort and safety, and anything new feels uncomfortable or even scary. So it tries to stop you with thoughts like do it later or you need more time. But if you listen to these thoughts too much, you will stay in the same cycle without progress. And this is how people slowly lose their dreams, not because they are not capable, but because they delay action again and again. And over time, this delay becomes a habit, and that habit becomes a lifestyle, and that lifestyle shapes their future. But the good news is that you can break this pattern at any moment. And it starts with one simple decision, to take action now, even if it is small, even if it is not perfect. For example, if you want to learn something new, don't wait until you feel confident, start with 5 minutes today. If you want to change your life, don't wait for a big opportunity, use what you have right now. Because action creates clarity, and clarity builds confidence. And confidence creates momentum. And this momentum is what helps you move forward step by step. And the more you act, the less power fear has over you, because fear grows in stillness, but it becomes weaker when you move, even slowly. And this is something many people don't understand. They think they need confidence before action, but the truth is the opposite. Action comes first, and confidence grows after, like a result, not a starting point. And when you accept this idea, your life begins to change, because you stop waiting and start doing. And even if you fail sometimes, you learn, you improve. And you become stronger, And slowly, you build trust in yourself. And that trust is more powerful than any external support, because it stays with you in every situation. And this is how you start climbing your mountain, not by thinking too much, not by planning forever, but by moving, by doing, by taking one step at a time. Even when the path is not clear, because every step you take creates a new path, and every action you make brings you closer to the person you want to become. One of the biggest reasons people struggle in life is not because they are weak or unlucky, but because they are controlled by hidden patterns inside their mind, patterns they don't clearly see, but repeat every day without thinking. And these patterns are often built from past experiences, fears, and emotions that were never fully understood. So instead of moving forward freely, a person keeps reacting in the same way again and again, even when it hurts them. For example, someone may avoid opportunities because they are afraid of failure, or they may push people away because they are afraid of being hurt. And even though they want a better life, their actions do not match their goals, and this creates frustration, confusion, and self-doubt. But the truth is that these patterns are not permanent. They are learned, and anything that is learned can be changed. But the first step is awareness, because you cannot change something you do not see. So you must begin to observe yourself honestly. Not with judgment, but with curiosity, by asking questions like, why do I always react this way? Or, what am I really afraid of? And when you start to notice your thoughts and behaviors, you begin to understand the deeper reasons behind them. And this understanding gives you power, because now you have a choice. Instead of reacting automatically, you can pause, think, and choose a different response. And at first, this will feel uncomfortable because your mind prefers old habits, even if they are not good for you. But if you stay consistent and patient, something important begins to happen. You start creating new patterns. Healthier patterns that support your growth instead of stopping it. And these new patterns may start small, like speaking up when you usually stay silent, or trying again when you normally give up. But over time, these small changes become strong habits, and those habits shape a new identity, a stronger, more aware version of yourself. And this is how real transformation happens, not by changing everything at once, but by slowly becoming more conscious of your inner world and choosing better actions step by step. And as you continue this journey, you begin to feel more in control, more confident, and more aligned with your true goals. And you realize that the problem was never your ability. It was the unconscious patterns that were guiding your life. And now that you can see them, you are no longer controlled by them. Instead, you become the one who decides. And that is a powerful place to be, because it means your future is no longer based on your past, but on your awareness and your choices today. Another powerful truth many people do not realize is that self-sabotage often feels like protection, not destruction. And this is why it is so difficult to notice and change, because deep inside, your mind is trying to keep you safe from pain, rejection, or failure, even if that safety is limiting your growth. For example, you may delay an important task, not because you are lazy, but because you are afraid that you might fail, or you may avoid new opportunities, not because you don't want them, but because you are afraid of what could go wrong. And in these moments, your mind creates excuses that feel logical and comfortable, like, I will start tomorrow, or this is not the right time. But if you look deeper, you will see that these are not real reasons. They are protective patterns that keep you in a safe but small space. And the longer you stay in this space, the more your world becomes limited. And over time, you may feel stuck, frustrated, or even disappointed in yourself, without fully understanding why. And this is the hidden cost of self-sabotage. It slowly takes away your potential while making you believe that you are just being careful or realistic. But the truth is, growth always requires some level of discomfort. And if you always choose comfort, you will also choose limitation. So the key is not to remove fear completely, because fear is a natural part of being human, but to understand it and move forward anyway, step by step, even when it feels uncertain. And one simple way to begin is by noticing your excuses, not judging them, but questioning them, asking yourself, is this really true, or am I just afraid? And when you do this, you start to separate your real needs from your fear-based reactions. And this awareness gives you the power to act differently, even in small ways like starting before you feel ready, or continuing even when it feels uncomfortable. And these small actions send a new message to your mind, that you are capable, that you can handle challenges. And slowly, your sense of safety begins to change. Instead of feeling safe only when you avoid risk, you start to feel safe when you face it. And this is a powerful shift, because now your protection comes from your strength, not your avoidance. And as this change grows, you begin to trust yourself more. You take more meaningful actions, and you stop holding yourself back without realizing it. And this is how you move from a life controlled by fear to a life guided by purpose. Not perfectly, but with courage and awareness. And in this process, you discover that the real danger was never trying and failing, but never trying at all. And once you understand this, you begin to live in a completely different way, with more freedom, more honesty, and more power over your own path. Many people believe that their emotions control them, and that they must wait for the right feeling before they can take action. But the truth is that emotions are not commands. They are signals. And when you learn how to understand these signals instead of blindly following them, your life begins to change in a powerful way. Because emotions come and go, they rise and fall like waves. And if you make every decision based on how you feel in the moment, your direction in life will always be unstable. For example, one day you feel motivated and strong, so you work hard and take action. But the next day you feel tired or discouraged, and you stop everything. And this creates an inconsistent pattern that makes it difficult to grow or achieve anything meaningful. And over time, this can lead to frustration, because you know you are capable of more, but you cannot stay consistent, and the reason is not lack of ability. It is lack of emotional awareness, because when you do not understand your emotions, you become controlled by them. But when you start to observe them, you gain distance, and that distance gives you control. For example, instead of saying, "I am lazy," you can say, "I feel low energy today." And this small change in language helps you see that the feeling is temporary, not your identity. And when you understand that feelings are temporary, you are less likely to let them decide your actions, and you can choose to move forward even when you don't feel perfect. And this is where real discipline begins, not as something hard or forced, but as a simple decision to stay consistent, even when your emotions change. And one helpful way to practice this is by creating small daily habits that you follow no matter how you feel, like studying for a short time every day or working on your goals step by step. And these small actions build stability, and stability builds trust in yourself. And that trust becomes a strong foundation for your growth. And slowly, your identity begins to change. You no longer see yourself as someone who acts only when motivated, but as someone who can act with purpose, even when it is difficult. And this shift is very powerful, because it gives you freedom from emotional ups and downs, and helps you stay focused on what truly matters in the long term. And as you continue this process, you begin to feel stronger, calmer, and more in control, not because life becomes easy, but because you learn how to respond to it in a better way. And this is one of the most important skills you can develop, because it allows you to grow steadily, without being stopped by temporary feelings, and it helps you move closer to your goals with clarity, patience, and confidence. Another important truth is that the way you see yourself shapes everything you do, and many people carry a quiet but powerful belief inside them that says, "I am not good enough," or "I cannot change." And even if they don't say it out loud, this belief controls their actions every day. Because when you believe something about yourself, you start to act in a way that matches that belief. For example, if you believe you are not capable, you may avoid challenges, stay silent, or give up quickly. And then these actions create results that seem to prove your belief is true. And this becomes a cycle that is hard to break, because your mind looks for evidence to support what it already believes. But here is the powerful part. These beliefs are not facts. They are stories you have learned over time, maybe from past experiences, failures, or even from what others said about you. And because they are learned, they can also be changed. But the change does not happen by simply saying positive words to yourself. It happens through small, real actions that slowly build a new identity. For example, if you want to see yourself as confident, you don't wait until you feel confident. You start by doing small things that confident people do, like speaking clearly, trying again after failure, or sharing your ideas, even if you feel unsure. And each time you do this, you send a new message to your mind that you are capable, that you can grow, and that you are not limited by your past. And at first, this may feel uncomfortable because it does not match your old identity, but that discomfort is a sign of change, not a problem. And if you stay consistent, those small actions begin to feel natural. And over time, they become part of who you are, and this is how you rebuild your self-image, not in one big moment, but through repeated proof that you are different from what you once believed. And as your self-image improves, your choices improve, you take better risks, you set higher goals, and you treat yourself with more respect. And this creates better results in your life, which again strengthens your new belief. And this positive cycle continues to grow. And the most important thing to remember is that you do not need to become a completely new person overnight. You only need to start acting like the person you want to become in small, simple ways every day. And with time, those actions will shape your identity, and your identity will shape your future. And this is how you move from self-doubt to self-trust, from limitation to growth, and from fear to possibility, step by step, with patience and intention. One of the most powerful changes you can make in your life is learning how to be patient with your own growth, because many people start a journey of change with high energy and big expectations. But when they do not see fast results, they become frustrated and give up. And this is where the real problem begins, not in failure, but in the misunderstanding of how growth actually works. Because real growth is slow, quiet, and often invisible in the beginning, like a seed under the soil. You cannot see it growing every day, but that does not mean nothing is happening. And if you keep digging it up to check, you will only stop its progress. And in the same way, when you keep judging yourself too quickly, saying, "I am not improving," or "this is not working," you create pressure that makes the process harder and less enjoyable. And over time, this pressure can lead to burnout, self-doubt, and loss of motivation. But when you understand that change takes time, you begin to relax into the process. You focus more on your daily actions than on immediate results. And this shift is very important because it helps you stay consistent, even when progress feels slow. For example, instead of trying to completely change your life in a few days, you focus on small improvements like learning something new each day, practicing a skill regularly, or making slightly better choices than before. And these small actions may not feel impressive at first, but over time, they create powerful results. Because consistency is stronger than intensity, and when you repeat small positive actions again and again, they become habits, and those habits shape your future in a quiet but strong way. And another important part of patience is learning to accept mistakes without losing hope. Because mistakes are not signs that you are failing. They are part of the learning process. And every time you make a mistake and continue, you build resilience, and resilience is what helps you move forward in difficult times. And this makes you stronger than someone who never tries. And as you continue this journey with patience and understanding, you begin to trust the process. You no longer rush or compare yourself too much with others. Instead, you stay focused on your own path. And this brings a sense of calm and confidence that is very powerful. Because now your progress is not based on pressure or fear, but on steady effort and self-belief. And in this state, growth becomes natural, not forced. And you start to see real changes, not only in your results, but in your mindset, your habits, and your overall way of living. And this is how lasting transformation happens, slowly but surely, through patience, consistency, and trust in your own journey. At some point in life, you must learn to let go of the past, not because it was easy or fair, but because holding on to it continues to shape your present in a negative way. And many people carry past pain, mistakes, or regrets like a heavy weight, thinking that remembering it will protect them or keep them aware. But in reality, it often keeps them stuck in the same emotional state, repeating the same thoughts and reactions again and again. And this makes it difficult to grow. because your energy is always connected to something that has already happened and cannot be changed. For example, if you constantly think about a past failure, you may start to believe that you will fail again, and this belief affects your actions in the present, making you hesitate, avoid risks, or give up too early. And in this way, the past begins to control your future, not because it has power, but because you continue to give it attention. And the important truth is that the past only has meaning through the story you tell yourself about it, and that story can be changed. You can choose to see your past not as something that defines you, but as something that taught you, something that helped you learn, grow, and understand yourself better. And this does not mean you ignore your pain or pretend everything was good. It means you stop letting it limit who you can become. And this is a process that takes time and honesty. Because you must face your memories and emotions with courage, not to stay in them but to release them. And one way to begin is by asking yourself, what did this experience teach me? Instead of, why did this happen to me? And this small change in perspective helps you move from a victim mindset to a growth mindset, where you focus on learning instead of suffering. And as you continue this practice, the emotional weight of the past begins to feel lighter, and you create more space in your mind for new ideas, new goals, and new possibilities. And this freedom is very important because it allows you to fully live in the present, where your real power exists. And when you are present, you can make better decisions, build healthier relationships, and take meaningful actions toward your future. And over time, you begin to see that your life is not controlled by what happened before, but by what you choose to do now. And this realization is deeply empowering, because it reminds you that no matter where you come from or what you have experienced, you still have the ability to create a different path, step by step, with awareness, courage, and intention. And this is how you move forward, not by forgetting the past, but by no longer allowing it to hold you back. One of the most important skills you can build in life is learning how to take full responsibility for yourself, because many people stay stuck not because they lack ability, but because they wait for something outside of them to change first, like other people, better conditions, or the right time. And while these things can influence your life, they are not the main factor that decides your future. Because when you give too much power to external situations, you slowly lose your own sense of control. And this can make you feel helpless, frustrated, or even angry. But when you choose to take responsibility, something powerful begins to happen. You shift your focus from what you cannot control to what you can control, like your actions, your habits, and your mindset. And this shift may feel difficult at first, because it means you must be honest with yourself. You must accept that some of your problems are connected to your own choices, not only to outside factors. But this honesty is not meant to make you feel guilty. It is meant to make you stronger, because once you accept your role in your life, you also gain the power to change it. For example, instead of saying, I cannot improve because my situation is hard, you can say, my situation is hard, but I will still take small steps to improve. And this simple change in thinking opens new possibilities, because now you are not waiting, you are acting. And even if your actions are small, they begin to create progress. And progress builds confidence, and confidence helps you take bigger steps over time. And another important part of responsibility is consistency, because it is not enough to take action once. You must continue even when it feels difficult, and this is where many people stop, because they expect quick results. But real change requires repeated effort, day after day. And when you stay consistent, your actions become habits, and those habits shape your life in a strong and lasting way. And as you continue this process, you begin to trust yourself more, because you see that you can rely on your own effort, not only on external help. And this trust is very powerful because it gives you independence, confidence, and a sense of direction. And slowly, your life starts to change, not because everything becomes easy, but because you become stronger, more focused, and more responsible for your own path. And this is the moment when you stop feeling like a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the creator of your life, step by step, with awareness, discipline, and belief in your ability to grow, no matter where you are right now.